Joining us now on the Picks for Polls podcast, he's coming to us from the Pacific Northwest. We've got Washington State Cougars linebacker Devin Richardson in the house. You can follow him on Twitter at DevinRichard_ON. We'll be talking football, Devin's journey to the next level, and a lot about his college career. How is everything going, Devin? Thanks so much for hopping on here today.
Of course. Everything's going pretty well, man. Just been training and then working on the side, so it's been pretty cool.
So you're saying you got a job on the side as well in addition to training. Where exactly are you training? So like where exactly are you working? Because I've done so many of these over the years that, I get real intrigued when prospects are like, oh yeah, I'm working as well as, getting ready for the draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I could have went back home and trained with a guy that I used to train earlier on in college with, but I would have been coming out of pocket. And so I just connected with my strength coach who worked with me this last year at WSU, Jay Beckett. He's been getting me right. And I feel like for me, that decision just came down to I wanted to be with the person who knew me well and also has had me at my strongest and fastest I've ever been. And so I've just been doing that. And then while I'm staying out in Pullman, I picked up a serving/bartender job just to keep some money in my pocket and pay for rent and everything.
That is definitely awesome. Can tell just watching a lot of your stuff, you're super well-rounded with everything. Okay, but let's kind of get into this thing, right? Your journey is unique because you originally out of high school went to New Mexico State, and then you ended up at Texas, and then Washington State University. And it's not a lot of times where, in the world of NIL plus the transfer portal, guys are moving schools, they may move it once or twice, but not necessarily, 2 to 3 times. So what was a similarity and difference between all 3 of the programs? Because it's certainly, a different vibe. Like Texas is probably the biggest fan base of the 3. Then you got Washington State and then New Mexico State as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first and foremost, I give all that to God because looking back, coming out of high school, I thought I was going to stay at New Mexico State the whole time and go to the league. And then God opened up a door and allowed me to go to Texas. And then he closed that door and allowed me to go to Washington State. So it's just been definitely a journey where I've learned that I can't really plan out how my life is going to be, but more so just adjust to how God moves. So for the facilities and everything, I think Texas, like you hit the nail on the head. Texas, definitely top tier. You got everything you can imagine, plus some. And then I feel like Washington State happy medium where you got everything you need. And then that's where all that grit just comes in, just determines like what you're going to do with it. And then New Mexico State, surprisingly, they actually have like a really good facility and connections and all that stuff too. But you can just definitely see the difference between like the Power 5 level and all that when it comes to like scheduling and competition and stuff.
So, talk about those, I guess, differences, right? Because there's a lot of when you look at like when you're playing in those Power 5 conferences, as you've done over the last couple of years, you're playing against guys that are, have similar aspirations in terms of, they're getting all the media attention. They're probably going to go to the league most likely. Whereas at a smaller school like New Mexico State, that's not necessarily the case. But in a world of social media and, huddle and everything, it becomes really easy to put yourself on the map. But you still have to go ahead, grind harder than the person next to you and work harder than them every single day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it really just comes like, I think at every level there's going to be competition. I think I could just see the difference in preparation from my transition from New Mexico State to Texas and just how the coaches like really prepped you and stuff. Because one of my biggest reasons for leaving New Mexico State to go to Texas was I wanted to make sure I would be league ready and making sure that I'm not playing checkers, but I'm playing chess, and I'm actually like understanding the game in that aspect and stuff. And yeah, I think there's dogs at every level. Even at New Mexico State, I was fortunate enough to play Alabama, and then fortunate enough to play Ole Miss. So it's just when it comes to the Power Five conferences, you have consistent big opponents versus like if you're in the Mexico State, you probably get like 3 or 4 money games. So it all just depends. And like I said, I think each team just has those dogs. You know, some guys are like a diamond in the rough that just slips between the cracks. So yeah.
Okay, so I have to go ahead and ask you because, you know, it's not every day that we get to have a prospect on here that has played against a SEC team like Alabama or Ole Miss, or even a lot of these Pac-12 teams like Oregon and the University of Washington. But what is it like playing a lot of those big schools? Because as a player, you know, you're going to come in, you're going to be focused, you as an individual, but also part of a greater team. Like you're going to do your 111th, but there is, I feel like, a significant amount of hype when it comes to those games because you want to, as an individual, like you want to play, you know, Alabama and Ole Miss and in a lot of the rivalry games because those games mean something different at any level.
Yeah. I mean, just being at Mexico State, it was more so like, it's playing against Bama. It's like, what are those things where they're like, there's a lot of hype around it because it's like name and everything. But like just going into it, blocking out the noise, and understanding who you are, all the preparation you were, understanding that they bleed just how you bleed. That's just how it is at the end of the day. I mean, of course, there's like a lot of noise and publicity around it, but I think I'm honestly happy advantage when it came to, since I played high school ball in Texas, like Friday night lights are huge. So it was easy for me to really just, once I'm on the field, I'm on the field versus like hearing the crowd and just all these stuff. It's easier to block out. But it was also just dope to go against those guys just to make plays and know like, yeah, I can't compete at this level. So it's like reassurance for yourself and just out there, just trying to get yours really and try to get those highlights.
So, okay, you mentioned going up against some of those guys. I have to ask you, I mean, and full disclosure, I'm not trying to start like any sort of beef here, but was there any player that you absolutely loved going up against because of who they were and their competitive spirit? Was also the opposite end of it. Is there anyone that you kind of did not like to go against or any sort of program and team?
I don't really think I have anybody that I don't like going against, more so because my play style. Like I like to see myself as like a silent assassin. I like to picture myself as like Black Panther when I hop on the field because like what you think about Black Panther, he's not loud, he's very strategic, silent, he gets the job done. So I try to be like that because he's also strong too. But definitely that Bama team, I always look back at that because it was a wild game just because we had like Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Tua, Najee Harris. So like I think the person that surprised me the most was going against Tua, because you would think he would like talk a little more, but like playing against Tua, he's like, oh, but like not in the sense of like how he does, like he's a crazy technician, but like it's like not too much talking, but he's like directing, snap, and there's no like all that extra talk after the snap. Like you would think he would talk mess, he doesn't talk no mess. He's just he was different. And then I remember this one play going against Jalen Waddle. He was doing a punt return against us, and bro reverse field twice. It was like, what's going on right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is. So, you know, it's so interesting, right? Because you feel like, you know, with social media and everything, you kind of get much up closer to these players and you probably would have, let's just say, like 10 to 15 years ago. And so you kind of get this inside scoop as to, you know, what their personalities are and what they're like. But you mentioned yourself as being strategic. I think, you know, the position of linebacker has changed so much, right? And it continues to take on a new meaning because, you know, 20 years ago, you had guys like bigger guys that were 6'5", 6'6", like a Ray Lewis or Brian Urlacher that kind of did a little bit of everything. And now your linebacker responsibilities, guys are getting smaller, but they're also getting much quicker, right? You've got your like off-ball linebacker, right? And then obviously you've got your traditional terminology like your Mike, your Sam, your Will, but just break down, you know, your play style, and kind of who did you learn that from growing up? Was there any, linebackers that you maybe looked up to?
Mm-hmm. So for me, I feel like my whole transition was unique because I grew up wanting to play quarterback my entire life, and I played that all the way up until my junior year of high school. That was the first time I ever played defense. So I played off the edge, and I didn't play off the ball backer until I got into college, actually. So the guys I would look up to or just watch their game was obviously Ray Lewis, Bobby Wagner, just because of his frame and style. And then I think the guy who helped me a ton, who took me up under his wing, was Terrell Hanks, my freshman year at New Mexico State. So I think even now it's like I'm still learning a lot about the game and just how to be a linebacker and just down be and just get the job done. Because I think first and foremost, before anything, I was an athlete, and just getting into football, like me and my brother go to them and do like bodybuilding stuff. So I always had a knack for just loving the weight room and just being, even after the ball, I want to be like a strength coach. So I think first and foremost, I was an athlete, and I think now it's just beautiful just to see different aspects of the game, just learning.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, you can never learn too much about, one position or about the game of football, whether it's on the field or off the field stuff. But, as a linebacker, I think you're always kind of taught in various different ways, right? And it's not just like, hey, go ahead and float to the ball. There's a lot of, stuff that takes place pre and post snap that you have to account for. Like, for example, as a linebacker, you may go ahead and decide, okay, I'm going to read the guards or the inline tight end to get an idea of whether it could be a run or pass play. And so you really have to go about doing a lot of film work just to study your opponent's tendencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of film work. And I think another aspect of my game that I just also have a knack for, just because how my journey has went since I started off as edge, like I love to rush. Like that's probably one of like my favorite things to do. And I think a guy that I'm looking into and just falling in love with his game simply is Micah Parsons, just like how he's like a hybrid backer, how he can just flat blitz the passer and then also just play off the ball as well.
So have you watched a lot of Micah Parsons film, I'm guessing then? How about other guys that are at the top of the game right now, like a Roquan Smith or a Patrick Queen, just to get an idea of the different types of linebackers that are in the league today?
Yeah, Fred Warner, his footwork is crazy. Definitely Micah Parsons, definitely his pass and ability. And another guy was Leonard. He just went to the Ravens. Just like how, just his frame and just his play style, just his flow to the ball. But definitely like Fred Warner and Bobby Wagner and Micah Parsons, like those are like three-headed monsters in my opinion. Because Bobby Wagner, his block destruction with O linemen, and then Fred Warner with his footwork and his elite hustle to the ball and just be able to impact plays and just direct as a Mike linebacker. I think right now he's like the textbook standard for backer right now.
I mean, yeah, there's so many, and I think, a lot of what it is, it's like there's the great individual player, and then there's kind of how that player fits into the defense and how the rest of the scheme and the other 10 guys around the one player make that guy so successful. Because linebacker is, not the easiest position on the planet to play. But, earlier you talked a lot about, and you mentioned film study, right? Like you're constantly watching guys, but what is, your process like when you're sitting down watching film yourself and then you're in team meetings, you're taking notes? Like what's that process like for you?
It's very tedious, and I think I really appreciate the last couple with is JC Sherritt. He came up with this basically like a formula just to go throughout the week and just watching so we were personnel on like Mondays, just looking at the running backs and the tight ends and just how they play, their run styles and stuff. Because as a Mike backer or as a backer, you just always worried about stopping the run first and foremost. Once you stop the run, then a lot of stuff falls into play. And just looking at third downs and just second down, as we just build up to like second and then third down and then just definitely the money down, so that third down, just to make sure that we can get off the field. And just like for me, I like looking at like the tackles and then the interior O linemen, just because for certain play calls on blitzes just seem like the indices of like how the tackle sets, or like how I can make certain moves, or like if certain O linemen are suspect to like speed to power, or like power moves, or just stuff like that. It's just very tedious. And then just watching whole game clips as well, just to see the flow of the game, just to see how offensive coordinators like calling it, and just like the whole entirety of like a football team and like what their agenda is to do against us. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, playing defense and then more specifically having to focus on the tendencies is never an easy thing, because it kind of, you know, every single down, you just know that, okay, they're showing one look, but they could show something else. It's kind of this like massive guessing game. Whereas when it comes to offense, you are able to go ahead and audible in and out of something that you may want to go ahead and do. But, you know, focusing on the Bears here, this is a team that, you know, in a franchise that has always been known for its linebacker play, right? Like everything in any season could be going wrong, but the linebackers are somehow magically the lone bright spot. What should Bears fans know about you as a person, especially over the next couple of weeks here as the draft process heats up?
I think first and foremost, I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. That's what I always start with. That's my root. That's what's got me this far. That's what I lean on when times get tough. And I'm a hard worker. Love the weight room. Love the guys. Like, for me, like, I just want to make an impact on any team, whether that's on the field or off the field. Like, I think it's beautiful just being able to be in a locker room and just to just touch lives and just to just impact people and just be like a leader, whether like it's on the field or off the field. I know in the league you have to wait your turn, but I know that I'm gonna do the most I can with my role. Like, that's one thing that one of my coaches taught me, Coach Jeff Choate at Texas, who's like, be a star in your role. Like, the role you have right now, make sure you're doing it to the best of your ability.
So I need to go ahead and ask you this, because you talked about being involved on and off the field, right? Making an impact for a team. I mean, you seem to be this incredibly like community oriented person. Throughout, you know, high school and college, did you do any sort of like off field stuff to help benefit the community?
Yeah, we would go to like elementary schools and like read to kids. And this year I wanted to get like a few things going. It didn't fall through like I wanted to. I wanted to do like this. I wanted to do a turkey drive for one, and then I also wanted to do like it was like a whole system between Walmart. I was in connection with the CEO at Walmart, but it never happened. But I wanted to have this system. You know how at self-checkout, like at Walmart, I wanted to where you can like push a button and click like donate. Like you could donate like a shirt, a pair of pants, or like socks. And you can just click and it to your bag. But you actually wouldn't get it. It would just be under the system so that they can just put it to the side and just donate at the end. I thought that would be pretty cool. But I think just in the future, I just want to just make sure like I'm just giving back, even to like my clown community, like the community that helped push me to even go into college and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, that Walmart stuff is really unique, because I feel like, you know, the world of football, and again, I coach football too, but it's so easy to just go do something like, hey, you know, we're going to go ahead and read books to like elementary or middle school kids, or just go and, you know, do a few drills with them. And again, you know, we're not saying that you shouldn't do that stuff. Like, that's still really beneficial. But, you know, was there throughout high school and just playing youth football and all that, was there any specific person that had this massive impact on you that you know, feel like to this day, something that they said to you, a message they sent you, has stuck with you and you kind of live by it every single day?
I think it's a few things. The first thing I thought about was growing up at church for me. This group we call it was Young Kings for Christ, which was all the youth guys, and it was Chris Alford and Darren Ward. They just took all of us up under their wing, and they taught us discipline, just memorizing like Bible verses and stuff, and just basically how to be a man, how you're supposed to shake a man in, make sure you look him in the eye, and make sure it's firm and stuff like that. And I think just it's people along the way, like I just love sowing seeds into people, and having somebody just pull me to the side or like send me like a message saying like, I don't know if you noticed, but like you're doing this and this, and like it's really helping me out. Just hearing messages like that, I feel like that also just fuels my fire just to just keep doing what's pure and just like pure intentions from my heart.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, anyone who has ever been involved in something kind of has always had someone really influence them along the way. But, in terms of your journey to the league, right, that training is such a significant part of it. What is a daily kind of training session for you like? Are there any specific workouts that you're doing because you do play linebacker, or do you kind of differentiate and change it up every single day?
A lot of it's structured based off of what my strength coach gives us. And then, so like on Mondays, we do like heavy leg day. Tuesdays, we do heavy upper body. And then Wednesdays, like film study, just based off of like our starts and like running techniques. And then we do two more workouts, which is similar to like Monday and Tuesday, just changes the actual workout itself. And then on Saturday, we do like play drives. Like past Saturday, we did like a mock pro day, whatever. And then we did two play drive series of like 15 plays. So just getting conditioned, not only for pro day, but just like camps after the draft or whatever. So just making sure that we're in football shape.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really differentiate up every single day, because I feel like as a linebacker, like you move in so many different directions. Things can change within an instant, but it's a long process to draft, right? And everyone kind of always hears about, well, so-and-so team is doing their homework on so-and-so prospects. But I feel like as a prospect, the opposite is also true. Like you equally have to go ahead and do your homework on teams because they're interested in you, right? You want to know anything and everything you can about where you could potentially end up, and what a certain team and a front office person and linebackers coach, etc., all that good stuff is kind of about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like for me also, transition has been unique for me because I didn't really know too much about the whole process and like getting the agent. Like I knew you were supposed to have an agent, but didn't quite sure you had to have one. So I was honestly gonna go into the draft without one. But it just didn't seem wise thinking about it. Just the more I thought about it, and then finally reached out to Emily Staker. I honestly forgot. Like I was following her on Instagram for a while, but I forgot that she was an agent. And then she popped up. I was like, "Oh snap!" Like let me hit her up, and she's just been doing an amazing job. And we just started just like the whole process and making sure that my family's on board and making sure that they understand the whole process too, and just moving forward just to get to understand like I said, like potential landing spots and like just like what scouts or whoever is saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's this incredibly extensive process. But last one from me here, where can people kind of follow you on Twitter, check you out on Instagram, maybe just keep up with a lot of your work throughout the next couple months?
So I mean, all my socials are the same, like you said in the beginning. It's Devin Richard _on. I would put Devin Richardson, but somebody took the full name. So just keep it simple. I'll keep it the same everywhere so that it's easy to find me. So
yeah, absolutely. And guys, go ahead and shoot Devin a follow. You're obviously going to want to keep up with everything that he's doing both on and off the field. Thanks so much for being on here. Best of luck to you over the next couple months here. And, hope that you land in Chicago. So, because if you do, then, I will tell you right now, I will tell Bears PR and be like, hey, give me an in-person interview with Devin Richardson.
That'd be dope because my boy Roshan Johnson down there killing it right now. So that'd be dope.
Oh, wait, okay. So how do you know Roshan? Just dating back to your high school days?
No, Texas. He played at Texas. He was there when I was there.
Oh yeah, I forgot. So then I'm assuming you talk to Bijan as well then?
Not as much. That's a busy man right there, but yeah, that's my dog too.
Okay, yeah, no, Roshan is, super like it's weird because I've tried to talk to him and he's just like so focused on football. He's like, yo, like I appreciate the questions and everything, but I can tell he's just someone who just wants to go, watch film and just get out there and do drills and all that.
He is locked in. Like I'll never forget it was after the season we went 5-7. Like he called a whole team meeting and he basically like set the tone for that whole year. It was like, guys, like this is not happening. Like we have to put our best foot forward. I can't remember exactly what he said, but you could just feel the fire in the room, and that just is a testament to his work ethic and who he is as a man and his character and his leadership abilities. So
Absolutely, certainly very, interesting as a person and as a player.